So I'm going to start by looking at Business Central, and it's Dynamics 365 Business Central that we're showing today. If you start looking around Microsoft's literature, there are several products that fit the Dynamics name, and there's actually several in the Dynamics 365 family. So Business Central is the specific product we're looking at today. I'm showing you a SaaS version of Business Central, so that means software as a service. The way that Microsoft is licensing and implementing this product is in a multi-tenant environment. You license the product per named user, and that's paid for monthly, and you have access to the application. Microsoft maintains 100% of the SaaS application for you. So they take care of database backups, maintenance, upgrades, that sort of process for you. And again, you access the application via a browser or via an app. Certainly can talk more about the implications of SaaS, what that means to be in the cloud, pros and cons of that. Business Central can be deployed on-prem or in a private cloud as well. So there's some other options for you. For the majority of our clients lately, they have opted for the 100% SaaS offering with Microsoft. So again, we can talk more about that if you're interested or have questions. Business Central then is fully integrated with Office 365. Do not need to be in Office 365 to use Business Central, but the integration points do integrate with Office 365. So I'll talk about those integration points, but the key takeaway there is that Business Central really is integrated through what we call the Dataverse. So the backbone of Business Central is natively connected to the full front office and back office suite of applications. So Business Central is more than just a traditional ERP application. Being able to connect to the full suite of back office and front office apps really gives you a unified interface, a unified experience for your users. Supported browsers, i.e. Edge, Firefox, Chrome, as well as Safari. So I personally have implemented with 2 clients and their users all are on a Mac and they run Business Central natively within Safari. So you can do that as well. Just talk a little bit about some broad feature functionality within Business Central. So we do support full multi-company processing, multi-company both at a GL level, but also at a sales order, purchase order level if needed. And we also offer full consolidations. Nice thing about licensing with Business Central is you have the ability to set up as many companies as you want, no additional licensing costs for that. And then multi-company and multi-currency are part of the base application in terms of licensing. So no upcharge for any of that type of functionality. Just talk a little bit about the breadth of the product. And to do that, I want to go to this Explore All menu and talk about that first. So Company Hub, that really allows us to connect multiple environments, multiple companies together and give more of a unified interface for the end users. Warehousing. So we do have full warehouse capabilities in the base license. So that starts with inventory. But we do have planning capabilities within the application, obviously physical inventory. In terms of warehousing, we've got the ability to set up unlimited locations and transit locations. We can then add bin and zone processing to those locations if needed. So we do offer full directed pick, directed put away functionality if that's something that you require. Little differentiator here is the ability to do assemblies. So with an assembly, think multi-layer bill of material without a routing. So that allows us to do kitting operations. Those can be both made to stock or made to order type items. With an assembly though, we have what we call an assembly order. So we have the ability to have a more formalized assembly process if required in the system. The nice thing about that functionality is it's a nice intermediary step for some clients that have maybe light manufacturing requirements, but they don't need the full manufacturing system. So it would allow us to, again, an intermediary step if you don't need the full manufacturing. Connected into this is resources as well. So think people, machines that are connected in the system. So resources could be allocated on an assembly. They also can be leveraged in the project accounting, which we'll talk about a little bit later. From a purchasing system, we obviously have full payables processing. So that would include blanket purchase orders, purchase quotes, purchase orders, and then purchase invoices, which would be your traditional type payable systems. We do again have planning capabilities, so a requisition worksheet would help us look at demand requirements and help us automate a PO creation. We have the full finance functionality around vendors, including use tax 1099 processing. In terms of banking, we support obviously printing checks, but electronic payments can be integrated natively in the system, as well as direct connections to your bank for ACH file uploads, positive pay, as well as bank statement downloads into Business Central with bank reconciliation. In terms of finance, full general ledger capabilities. We do have the chart of accounts, and we have what we call dimensions. So dimensions allow for that more finite financial reporting. If you think of a segment structure or sub-accounts, maybe are other terms that could be used that would be synonymous with what a dimension system would be. But dimensions allow you as a client to actually configure those things on the fly. So you don't need necessarily a partner to help you add dimensions or dimensional values to the system. That's something that you can manage. Again, as I talked about full intercompany consolidation processing, we do offer unlimited number of budgets. There is an import-export process to Excel to facilitate that. Account schedule is how we generate financial reports. Cash management, I talked a little bit about that. So our banking integrations that would allow for electronic transmission of electronic payments, positive pay files, as well as bank reconciliation processes coming in. We do have separate functionality for cost accounting. So a lot of systems, you sort of jerry-rig the general ledger, or you do sort of some external reporting to manage cost accounting. Business Central will actually allow you to do cost accounting inside of the application. From a receivables perspective then, full receivables management really mirrors the accounts payable side of the world. So we've got the ability to do blanket orders, sales quotes, and then sales invoices. We can process inventory off of a sales invoice as well. I didn't say that about a purchase invoice, but we can process purchase invoices there as well. So full AR processing in the system. Fixed assets, so fully integrated fixed assets functionality will connect both accounts payable to fixed assets and then fixed assets to the general ledger for month-end journal entry depreciation posting. All right, we do have a light, I would just say a light sales and marketing set of functionality inside of Business Central. So this should not be confused with Dynamics 365 sales or customer engagement. This is really light, very light sales and marketing components. I've got the ability to do contact salespeople. I can do some basic tracking of tasks, opportunities against a sales quote and then process those. We do have integrations then back to the Dataverse, which would be customer engagement. So that would be the Dynamics 365 customer engagement product. So if you do want to use that product, we will natively connect accounts, contacts, products. You can see the list here, opportunities, quotes, sales orders, between the sales application and then the back office ERP application. All right, full manufacturing, just full disclosure, manufacturing is an additional licensing cost to the base product. So just know that that's an upgraded license, but this allows for multi-level bill of material routing, sub-assemblies, work center, machine center management, so cost roll-up, all that functionality around manufacturing. So we have a lot of clients that do manufacturing through Business Central, so that functionality is available. Two areas of functionality that we're going to talk specifically about, Greg is going to talk about with Fieldpoint, really expand the functionality that's a part of Business Central. So out of the box with Business Central, we do have project accounting and we do have service functionality that's available to you. So just want to make sure you realize that's there. What we see with a lot of clients, honestly, is that their requirements just outgrow fairly quickly what's available in the base Business Central product for project accounting and for service. And that's really why we partner with a solution like Fieldpoint to offer the clients with more sophisticated requirements than what's in the base product and options. So we could customize Business Central. Oftentimes, that's just not a great solution for people. And leveraging a Fieldpoint with a fully integrated solution to Business Central is a better option. So that's why we wanted to talk to those points today. All right, I just want to talk about some nice feature functionality in Business Central, usability experiences while we're here. First I want to talk to is really the ability to integrate Power BI into Business Central. So this is a Power BI report embedded inside of Business Central. If you haven't seen Power BI before, think slicing and dicing my data. So, these are just some examples of charts that allow me to analyze my data. We can put time slicers into the charts themselves. Charts can be interactive. So if I look at my AR, for example, and I click on a particular customer, the charts or the visualizations that are also in the report are going to update to reflect the selection I've had. So really allowing your user to slice and dice the data that they want to see. The beauty behind Power BI is this is a report that's embedded into Business Central. It's a part of Business Central. It can include just Business Central data, or you could include data from other data sources. So it allows you a unified reporting interface. The other thing that Power BI gives you is a reporting platform outside of Business Central. So if you have users that are not inside of Business Central or users you don't want in Business Central, but you still want to give them access to the same reports, giving them a license through Power BI and the Power BI interface directly will allow you to do that. So again, unified reporting environment, single source of truth, single report to maintain, multiple data sources can be combined for a unified reporting solution for your end users. So I'd like to point that out. A couple other things within the application, or actually outside of the application. The next one is an integration to Outlook. And this is Web Outlook, but the same functionality exists for a desktop version of Outlook. And we call this Contact Insights. So this is just a feature that I enable within Business Central that would connect then to either my Office 365 tenant or my Exchange tenant. And what it gives me is the ability to access the customer or vendor's account while I'm in Outlook. So there's a connection with the contact that's been set up. When I click on Contact Insights, then I'm going to be given a display of either, again, the customer's account or the vendor's account. The nice thing about this is a live interface, so I'm seeing current information. It's not pre-calculated and sort of sitting out there. And it also allows me to interact with the data in the sense that I could create sales orders, purchase invoices, sales invoices while I'm in Outlook. The key takeaway here is allowing users access into the ERP system while they're in a tool that they use day in and day out, like Outlook. Okay, so again, I don't have to ask the user to navigate someplace else to have visibility to the account or the organization that they're working with. I can, re-email invoices to a customer if I wanted to through here, or again, I can do data entry through here. Next component I'd like to talk about is we call Power Automate. So Power Automate, and again, this is part of the Power Platform, right there, part of the Power Platform. What Power Automate allows us to do is to really extend the functionality out of Business Central or into Business Central, into and from other applications. Those other applications could be inside the Microsoft stack or outside the Microsoft stack. So what it allows us to do is really operate with those other extended applications to create a single, what we would call a flow or Power Automate routine between applications. So a couple of examples of where we've done this is simply a workflow process for, let's say, a transaction approval. So I have approvals within Business Central. There's actually a native connector from that approval into Power Automate. So I could post to a Teams channel and allow a person to review and approve a transaction or a document inside of a Teams channel. Maybe I post to a customer channel when an order is placed. I could process an approval workflow into Outlook. So within Outlook, allowing the user to approve or reject a transaction. I also could connect to things like SharePoint, Dropbox, Evernote, all sorts of other, over 300 applications actually that allow connectors through Power Automate into Business Central. We can also automate then transactions into Business Central. So I worked with one client, actually they use the project accounting components. Their billing activity was completing a document and posting it to a SharePoint site. When the document was posted to a SharePoint site, we used a Power Automate routine to monitor that SharePoint site and then process a billing transaction back into Business Central. So just an example of a connector or an application of a connector that's available, again, using Power Automate to connect to other applications. All right, otherwise, within Business Central, the user interface is pretty straightforward. When I click, I've got extensive ability to search. I've got fact boxes over on the right. I think a hallmark of Business Central is what I would really say is quick, easy access to data. So everywhere you see a teal number, for example, that value is drilled down enabled to get to transaction detail, to get to more information. You'll also notice that the performance of the application is really quick. So very quickly, clicking on a separate customer, for example, I'm going to get updated customer statistics over here on the right. So quick, easy access to information. I think what users find is you don't need to run reports or run processes when you're using Business Central. You really can navigate to these base records and then quickly get to, let's say, payment information about a customer check, and then I can get down to the invoice details if I want to. So access to information, visible access to information, and quick, easy navigation through the system. All right. I see Sabrina did talk about questions, so if you do have questions as we're going, feel free to punch those in, and we'd be happy to address any questions that you have. I think at this point, you get sort of a broad view of Business Central. As again, this our demonstration is really to give you a taste of what's available. We'd be happy to set up a follow-up meeting with anybody that would like further information specifically about Business Central, but also the Fieldpoint solution.